Dear learners, welcome back to your educational channel Learn and Educate, where we were studying Right to Information Act 2005. Under this, Right to Information Act gives a right to the citizens of India to have access to the information held by the public authorities. In this video, we would be studying about what is the meaning of record as per the RTI Act. Therefore, record as per the RTI Act as per section 2 clause I means any document, manuscript and a file where any document is a written record. A document is a photographic record or in any other form where the document is a piece of written, printed out or electronic matter which provides information which give evidence of serve as an official record. For example, when a person photographs and spend years documenting the lives of the peoples, documenting the lives of a particular persons, where a document is a written record. A document is a piece of printed or written form which gives evidences and serve as an official record. A document is a record which gives a written account of something that one has observed, heard, or has done, or when an investigation is conducted, that is, its record is maintained in a document form. For example, when a record of production of milk shows an increasing trend of 25 percentage in the last year, in the previous year, in the previous 12 months. This is a record of production of milk, where a document is as a record consists of a piece of evidences which is about the past, especially for example of an account which is kept in writing. Account means something a recording is done with respect to some other permanent form. When a record is kept, keeping of a record, written record, a record is an official report of the proceedings where a system of procedure which is followed and a judgment in a court where the system followed in a particular dissemination of the justice, the procedure followed, the record kept, and the judgment is documented in a court. It is the aggregate of the previous work done. A document, when it is an aggregate of the previous work done, the performance of the individuals, the performance of organization, and other things. A record which is kept at the library, a record kept at the library with respect to books available in all the shelf, the books which is available in the shelf. A record is a set of written document of references in writing to keep a record of everything individual who enters the organization and the time when they left. It's a record which is used in reference of making an official public statement. With respect to when an office issues a public statement, they keeps a record which is used as a reference. What is manuscript? Manuscript is a book. Manuscript is a piece of a written content in a handwritten form. When something is written in the handwriting of the individual rather than in a printed form. For example, when a writer or an author have written any text in which it is not published yet, it is a manuscript. When a manuscript is a handwritten document which is written in a form and not in a printed copy. A record includes a document, manuscript, and a file. File is a combination. File consists of the collection of the written documents, collection of the piece of papers, collection of photographs, explanation, and when it comes to the charts, bar diagrams, which explains the data collected. Therefore, a file is a combination, is a collection of all the things in a written form, whether written or in a printed form, in a handwritten, which is an evidence documents which documents the work done, which has been observing the work following the procedures, where a record also includes a microfilm. A record includes a microfilm, which is the most frequently used kind of work with respect to computing. A microfilm is a reproduction of the physical record in a miniature on a film. the purpose of which is the storage of the printed materials which are photographed, which in a comparatively reduced size for the ease of storing. A microfilm is a 35 millimeter film on which written documents are photographed at a relatively small. It is used for the purpose of storing information in a smaller size. A microfilm is a roll is or in a roll format is in a reel format. A record includes a microfilm, microfiche, whereas a microfiche is a type of transparent film which contains many small images of printed materials such as pages from a book, from a magazine, from a newspaper, and or a computers which is used to store the information electronically. Microfiche is a storage information electronically which is used in computers. Microfiche, it helps to store the physical space in the library so that the film is used to store the information in a decreased size to save the physical area. This is in the form of a sheet or a card format like an index card, whereas a microfilm is in a format of a roll or a reel format. Facsimile copy. Facsimile copy is a copy of the written document or a printed document when the document is reproduced in an exact form by the photocopy machine, a photocopy or copy of a document, where record includes a facsimile copy of a document stored in an electronical format in where the image is photographed in a relatively lesser size to save the storage area, to have the access, where a fact microfiche is in the form of a transparent film which contains the small images of the printed materials, for example books, magazines, newspapers, etc. A facsimile copy, a facsimile copy is a copy of a written document, is a copy of a written document which is printed form or in a handwritten format when a document is reproduced in an exact form by photocopying machine. It is called as a facsimile copy of a document. A record also includes any reproduction of images which is embodied in such a microfilm, whether enlarged or not. When the microfilm is nothing but a reproduction of the physical record in a smallest format on the film, the purpose of which is just to store the printed materials as they are photographed in a comparatively lesser size. When the microfilm in a microfilm the images are not also enlarged, it would also be termed under the definition of record. Moreover, record includes any other material reproduced by computer or other devices. Other devices gives it a larger definition, whereas the improvement in the computing, in the information technology, and the maintenance of data, the structured data gives results into the information. Therefore, as per the Right to Information Act, record includes any other material which is produced, any other document produced by the computing or other devices for the purpose of maintenance of a record. And moreover, this computing includes the documents written, photographed in any format. For example, when individuals spent years to maintain, to observe, and write down the observations in the form of a report, which is a written account of something, investigation done in the electronic form on the form of piece of written paper or an electronic matter. Therefore, documenting the records in any other format, which is a document, a manuscript, which is in the form of a written, handwritten notes, a file. A file is a collection of the in information, collection of pages, collection of handwritten printed pages in the form of an images, explanation given to the images. Record includes microfilm, microfiche, and the facsimile copy of a document. Record is in the form includes any reproduction of the images, whether maintained in the microfilm, whether or not it is enlarged or short. A record includes any other material which is produced by a computer, by the computing system, or any other devices which can act as an evidence, which gives rise to notes, extracts, copies, which gives rise to any information in the form of record, documents, any emails which is recorded, stored in a computing format, any advices, opinion, release, circulars, logbooks, contracts, reports, any paper which has been maintained in a written format or in a photocopies, facsimile copy of a document which would be constructed as a record in the Right to Information Act.